can just hear how strong the wind is. You can see it.
Yeah, and I think that this might be the toughest we're going to see all morning long.
Absolutely, guys. Yeah, it's incredible we still have power here in Bay City because the wind is really whipping those 60, 70 mile per hour gusts.
But the wind has been pretty strong. I will say the wind right now, earlier today when we left our hotel, I could barely walk.
You can see the strong winds got the best of this building.
Neighbors that are still here are in the dark.
We just spoke to Maria's son, Jose.
This evening, the lights on the front porches of this home are finally back on.
There's no cell service, no electricity unless you're blessed with a generator.
I want to show you. I guess this tree fell with such force that it actually cracked.
Got caught in rising flood water. He called HPD.
The damage inside this condo complex, but I wanted to show you just the force of the storms. You can take a look at this wall.
Tell him to hurry. Jeff, can you hear us?
This entire island washed over as Hurricane Beryl made landfall. It completely destroyed at least 4 homes, tore the roofs off of others, downed power lines, and flooded streets. Right now, first responders aren't answering 911 calls because they just can't get to them. Her entire life packed into trash bags and plastic totes.
Just to try and make her comfortable, trying to help her, you know.
Robert Lee loads his friend Bridget's life into his pickup, not knowing where she'll unpack.
Really, I don't even know if she knows that far yet. You know what I mean? There's just a lot to process at the moment.
Bridget, too emotional to speak, with her historic Surfside A-frame swallowed by the sea.
Hurricane Beryl took them out. There have been some pretty iconic structures around there for a long time.
Her block may be gone, but Bridget is still here, having evacuated in time.
And I wouldn't ride out one right on the beach.
Yet right next door,
So we made a bad call.
the Bacher family tried.
You don't know what's going to happen with these hurricanes.
The wind rocking the house so violently, the motion so pervasive. Kimber Bacher's sister couldn't stop throwing up.
Better, and it just got nothing but worse.
So strong, it pushed through the door to the adjoining room where their 6 children under 10 slept, trapping them.
And when that door caved in, it suctioned the door where my daughters were at completely shut.
It took all the men in the family to pry them free.
Screaming, crying, scared, and
tourists from Oklahoma's storm country, Bacher knows they underestimated Beryl.
Well, we learned our lesson.
Leaving their July 4th rental tired today, she says it's a mistake they won't make again.
If there is a hurricane on the radar, we are out of here.
And this entire island was shut off to residents and business owners through noon. And even this evening, they're the only ones permitted to enter, with first responders guarding access bridges. In Surfside Beach, Shannon Ryan, ABC 13, Eyewitness News.
Well, the roof is right there, and it went over and crashed.
As hurricane force winds bore down on his spring home,
I figured, well, I'm going to go try to secure some things in the backyard, so that helped it.
Mike Hall was out here, scrambling to fit a tarp over one of his cars, not knowing at the time he'd be witnessing the destruction of part of his house.
It's coming across here, and that's when I saw that thing going like that, and that's when I went, oh no.
A pine tree comes crashing down on his roof right before his eyes, piercing holes through his kitchen and bathroom. He's chopped up part of the tree, but had to leave the rest lodged in his house.
You don't want to do no more than the insurance company will let you do. So I'm waiting for the insurance agent to get here, and they're saying maybe 2-week wait. And so I guess it may have to stay like that for a couple weeks.
I hadn't been through a hurricane in 30 years.
Just a few streets over, this tree slices through a house, crashing onto a woman as she sat on this chair. One of her legs and her face scratched up, but she avoided a hospital visit.
Injuries that she had were comparatively minor to what should have happened had she been even a little bit farther over.
In a phone call with Eyewitness News, she thanked God for saving her life, but there's no saving her house.
It's going to be quite a bit of work. They're going to have to completely remove the tree, rebuild the house, renovate, kind of start over.
The debris is piling up in front of homes all across the Timberlane subdivision, but they'll have to wait until Monday for any of it to be picked up. That's the earliest the Precinct 3 Commissioner's Office says they can get crews out here. In spring, Luke Jones, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
This tree is what nearly greeted a Fort Bend County family as Hurricane Beryl rolled through.
Whenever the tree fell on the side of the house, you just felt the whole house shake.
County leaders say one of the hardest hit neighborhoods is in Pecan Grove, a place filled with tall trees that attracted some to the area.
It kind of takes away the novelty of this community, you know, specifically our house. Some of these other ones, they'll remain, but we'll kind of be a neighborhood that's been kind of cut up a little bit.
No matter the size of the trees in the neighborhoods, county leaders say a large portion of people lost power. 250,000 at the height. More than 100,000 had power restored today, an issue impacting cell phone service too.
The towers are affected because of the power failure, and they're working to bring the services back.
With no power and poor cell phone service, many are racing to stores. Drive around Fort Bend County, and the long line may give away the type of business before you see it. Gas stations that are so busy, some have signs showing they're running out of fuel.
There is no need for panicking or panic purchasing, which is you're purchasing everything you see. That means you are denying somebody else an opportunity to have that.
Supplies some say they're not even thinking about yet because they're just trying to clear their neighborhood to drive through it.
Oh, like a war zone, man. Yeah, it hit us hard.
Just like so many other areas, people in Aldine are dealing with downed trees, limbs on the road, and then this. It caught our eye as we passed by. A massive tree fell on this woman's home. Fortunately, it's now gone thanks to some hardworking crews, and the woman who lives there is okay.
Now come on in, there's no lights.
Elise Dolly moved into this Aldine home in the 1960s with her parents. Filled with antiques with sentimental family value, and now with insulation and crumbling sheetrock.
Victor had just texted me and said, "Are you okay?" And I was going to text him back and say, "Yes." And wham, that tree fell just at the same time.
A massive pine tree fell on the roof of her home about 8:30 Monday morning. She heard a loud crash and says she was immediately in a state of shock.
I knew that pine tree had come down when I heard that.
Crushing her bathroom, which sits between her two bedrooms. Fortunately, Dolly, who's in her 70s, wasn't in the bathroom or bedrooms at the time, but she wasn't far.
I was right here, sitting here.
The top part of the tree landed over her sitting room where she was, but thankfully it didn't pierce the roof. Dolly is in good spirits, sitting under a surviving tree in the shade while crews pull the decades-old tree off the top of her home. In total, she's lost 3 during Hurricane Beryl, but she's grateful she wasn't in the bathroom at the time and that she has a great neighbor who's taken her in.
I tell you, that is something to look and find a tree in your house. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
In Aldine, Micah Hatfield, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.